These are floating discs because the disc rotor, that's the outside part, is not directly connected to the disc bell, that's the inside part. EBC discs use these hollow rivets to hold the two together. Some cheaper discs have circlips holding these rivets in place, and personally I wouldn't use them. EBC's new square rivet system called S-Drive is so new we couldn't get them in time for filming. Thanks to advances in manufacturing techniques, it's now possible to make flat-edged rivets cost effectively. Up until now, all floating discs relied on traditional round rivets, meaning the inner disc bell and the outer disc rotor had to be machined to be a close fit, and that in turn only allowed a small heat expansion gap, and that was a compromise. If there is too much expansion and the gap becomes too small, it can cause the rotor to distort in some extreme cases, and if the gap is too large, then the rotor can flop about on the bell, both of which are bad. The new flat-sided rivets, known as square drive, get round this problem completely. Because it's the flat sides that effectively hold the rotor to the disc bell, there can be as much expansion gap as necessary left at either end and between the two metal surfaces, meaning there's plenty of room for expansion while still holding the rotor firmly. They're so confident about it that they guarantee your discs will never warp. I'm using EBC's Contour disc. They're a good compromise between looks and performance. You do see some wavy discs that have so much material missing, it makes you wonder whether or not they're going to affect performance. Another thing to look out for when choosing your rotors is this scraper slot. If your rotors don't have a scraper slot, say for example just cross-drilled holes, they could end up causing ridges in your rotor surface and pads, and meaning they don't last as long. The scraper slot literally scrapes the pad surface each time it passes over and takes off any imperfections in the pad and keeps it flat.